Hi, this is David at TED-IELTS, and today I want to show you how to describe your favorite singer for IELTS Speaking Part 2. In this lesson, we will discuss the cue card, look at some useful language, and then I will give you my own sample Band 9 answer. As always, this video is divided into chapters, which you can find down below. Feel free to skip forward to whatever part of the video is most relevant for you, but I think it's best to watch the whole thing. You can also turn on the subtitles if you struggle to understand me. Right, let's start our lesson. Obviously, there are many different possible cue cards, and even one that asks you about your favorite singer may have many possible variations. It could say, describe your favorite singer, or describe your favorite musician. You need to read the cue card closely before making a choice and preparing an answer. Here is one possibility. There are a few key things to note. It must be a singer, not a guitarist or a pianist. You must describe the person a little. You must describe their music a little. The bullet points also ask you about their fans, and you must explain your reasoning too. This is a lot to include, but that's okay. It will help you to speak for at least 1 minute. Try to view it as a bonus, and don't worry if you run out of time before you've said everything. It really doesn't matter as long as you use good English and your answer is coherent. When you get the cue card, you need to immediately begin thinking about your response. The best idea is to quickly choose a singer to describe, then note some ideas down about things to talk about. Don't waste time choosing between good singers and instead utilize your time carefully. You can learn more about this approach to IELTS Speaking Part 2 in this video up here. I would pick the singer Bob Dylan because his name is the first that comes to mind for me. Perhaps there are people who are easier to talk about, but with just 1 minute to prepare, you really don't have much time. I would quickly make a few notes about things to talk about, based upon what it says on the cue card, and also anything else that seems relevant to me. These are just a few words that would help me to provide a good answer. They may not make much sense to you, but that's okay. The important thing is that your notes guide you through the response by reminding you of ideas and vocabulary that you want to use. Let's now look at some vocabulary to help you with describing your favorite singer. For a more general lesson on IELTS and music, you can search TED-IELTS.com for the word music. First of all, here are some ways to talk about singers so that you don't repeat that word over and over. Note that these are not always direct synonyms, and so you must think carefully before choosing. Frontman, for example, is used only for men and thus could not be applied to a female singer, whilst a crooner is a specific type of singer. It is also not typically viewed as very flattering, so it may not be appropriate for your favorite one. Other words that could be used include voice, vocals, lyrics, belt out, range, and so on. There are of course many more words you could use, and it honestly depends on the singer and the genre of music. You would use different language for describing a heavy metal singer and a rapper, for example. Let's look now at a few examples. Kurt Cobain was the lead singer of Nirvana, a Seattle grunge band that was immensely important in the 1990s. He was famous for his raspy voice and deep lyrics. His angsty songs conveyed a depth of emotion that resonated across generations, but were often misunderstood. Bruce Springsteen is one of the greatest American songwriters, whose work has remained popular for nearly half a century. His inimitable voice shines through despite his work in different musical genres, and his songs explore an array of themes that explore contemporary American life. Rihanna has a beautiful but powerful singing voice with an impressive vocal range. She manages to infuse her songs with deep and throaty notes, yet also hit the high notes when needed. Most importantly though, her songs convey strong emotions that appeal to her fan base. Amy Winehouse was famous for her unique singing style. Her voice was incredibly deep for a woman, and she used this to craft immensely powerful songs. She fused soul and jazz styles into her own brilliant form on many iconic hits. Okay, let's see now how I would have answered the previous cue card. Many years ago, a friend introduced me to the music of Bob Dylan, and I instantly fell in love with it. It was not just the music, but the enigmatic character of the singer himself that captivated me. Despite having been one of the world's most famous musicians for more than a half-century, it seems that almost no one knows anything about him. The man is a mystery to all but those closest to him. Dylan shot to fame in the 1960s as a folk singer whose protest songs captured the imagination of a generation. He put out record after record, constantly baffling listeners with his confusing lyrics. His music has such depth that there are now legions of Dylanologists devoted to deciphering his songs, but no one definitively knows what they mean because he never explains them. He lets his art stand on its own, which is rare nowadays. Through the decades, Dylan has released songs and even albums that span generations and defy expectations, with his most unusual perhaps being a collection of Christmas songs. He is beloved by millions of people around the world and has penned more hits than almost anyone else in history, with even covers of his songs becoming classics in their own right. For his musical brilliance, the range of his style, his personal integrity, and the sense of mystery he has shrouded himself in, I'm constantly in awe at this man, and that is why he is my favorite singer. As usual, I decided to start this answer with a personal note rather than a formulaic introduction. This helped me to move naturally into a description that covered everything in the cue card, but in an organic way. I've used some challenging vocabulary, but nothing outrageous or obscure. Remember that it is important to be accurate in your word use, and using random words from the dictionary will never help you. Words like enigmatic help me to describe Dylan, but they don't really apply to everyone. Importantly, I captured his style and personality and dealt with his musical range. I talked about folk and protest songs, as well as his confusing lyrics. All of this is more interesting than just saying he's a good songwriter over and over, which many IELTS candidates tend to do. Nothing here was particularly advanced, except that it was specific and relevant, which is the most important thing. I've also avoided repeating myself and given my answer a natural introduction and conclusion, which is really helpful. If you can take a similar approach in giving your own Part 2 answer, you'll be on track for a much better score in your next IELTS test.